Hi, Kuany. Thanks for joining me for the very first episode of Kicking It with Keely. My first guest. It only feels fitting because you were my first interview ever back at Cal when I decided I was switching careers up and doing this new thing. So, thank you so much for making it on here. Big time difference. We're like 17 hours apart. You're just waking up. I'm going to go to bed after this, but thank you for being here. I'm excited to catch up. It's been a minute.
Hey Keely, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be on your podcast and be the first episode, just like I was when we did the interview back at Cal in a basketball stadium. And I'm excited to share my journey with you, and I'm excited to be the first person on your podcast.
No, thanks for making it happen. And you're gonna laugh at this because when we did that interview, you're still a baby in your career. You were early on at Cal. We were both early on at Cal, and I remember you were like really a little hesitant about filming it, but I really talked you into it. I was like, it's not gonna go anywhere. It's for a project. You'll never see it. No one's gonna see it. But then I did upload it to
You too.
YouTube for a project, and it was private, but it accidentally got like put onto my public profile. And I will say, I went and found like to my profile like a month ago and was looking at it, and I was like, dang, people have low key been viewing this video, and I don't know where. Like, I never posted it. I like posted it silently. It has like almost 500 views. I don't know where it's getting put onto the internet, but it's a good interview. So if people like this one, I'll link the OG footage. It's like horrible quality camera. I like adjusted it maybe 1,000 times. People were trying to shoot in the gym, your teammates, and we had made them sit outside for like 2 hours. They're like, who is this girl? But I want to start off. Congratulations. Your first professional season in the NBL, and you capped it off with a championship. I mean, welcome back home, I guess.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And yeah, just to even go back to that interview, I was very shy back then, camera shy to be honest. You know, I mean, I was around cameras with basketball, but not really with interviews. But I think I've grown a lot ever since. And here I am back home, just won a championship, and excited to see what the next season has for me.
Yeah, that's why I was just prepping you. I knew big things were coming. I told you out there, I said, you're going to be a lot more of these. You're going to be happy that you got all the practice out of the way for the big ones. Well, fill me in a little because we have not talked since you were doing college hoops and now you're a pro. First season under the belt. I'm not even going to try to pronounce your team's name. I'll try your team's name, but not the city. Illawarra Hawks. Did I
Yep,
get it?
you got it right. You got it
Yes.
right.
I'm
Spot
not
on.
trying the city name though. Tell me where the name again of the city that
The
it's in.
city
It's
is
right outside
it's
Sydney.
it's called Wollongong, so it's like an hour
Yeah.
south of Sydney, an hour 15 south of Sydney. Yeah, beautiful beach town, and really great place to live.
Yeah, you kind of struck gold in terms of location, right outside of Sydney, championship on the first season. Can you explain to me a little bit like how you got into that? I know you mentioned that first season you kind of came in a little bit later trying to work your way in. That's always hard for people who are, been in that position. It's tough to play professional basketball. They say it's arguably the hardest sport to play because such small rosters and not that many teams, but the NBL is definitely a growing league. We've been seeing a little bit more about it as the years have kind of gone on. So maybe can you give a little background of how you kind of got into that? Obviously you're from Australia, so you had your roots back home, but
Yeah, being from Australia makes it a little easier. So there's three import spots, so non-Australians, and then there's eight Australian spots. But right after college, I signed with an agency, Promondo Sports. It's based here in Australia, and I'm very close to the agent. I've known him for about 10 years, like, of my life. He's known my family for a long time. So, I was very comfortable signing with him, and he just wanted to put the best path for me. So he put me on like the team where he felt like I was going to grow the most, learn the most, and become the best player I could be within that year, and then see where it goes from there. And to his credit, like he put me in a really good organization. The Illawarra Hawks is like top notch organization, like from the ownership to like the players, everything was run really well. And I had some of the best teammates ever, and it was a great welcome to the league. Like, couldn't have asked for a better first year and a better group.
that's exciting. I mean, I saw on your Instagram, I was like, did this man really just move home, win a championship in his first season? I was like, typical, good luck over there. I was like, I'm loving it. But then you're back playing already, little off-season hoops. But I want to take it all the way back to how you started playing basketball. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember you telling me that you originally were not totally into basketball. You had other sports dreams before you kind of found your way to the hardwood.
Yeah, so I started playing basketball when I was 11. My older brother was playing, and just watching him play kind of like convinced me to give it a shot. But I wasn't the best. I remember my family, we moved houses like an hour away from where I was on comfortable playing. So I put basketball down for a while, almost up to 2 years. And then when I came back, my older brother would just take me to training, every morning. It's like 13, almost 14. And his coach would also help me out while my brother was gone. And it's kind of, found some love for the game and it just took off ever since.
It's been a minute. You've been lot of places since then.
Yeah,
So I remember you said you played a little soccer back, a little
I,
goalie maybe.
I
Not
did.
that's a
Yep.
little, slight variation. You had the hand-eye coordination. And then you said also a little bit of Australian football maybe?
Yeah, so I tried both. I tried Australian
Okay.
football. I didn't join like an official club, but I tried it like,
Okay.
in school sports. Here in Australia, you can, play school sports every
Yeah.
semester and all. So I tried that. It didn't work out too well for me, and, it was fun, but it just wasn't for me. So I moved on
Yeah.
to soccer and soccer was fun,
Okay.
but, I was just stuck in the goals, being the goalkeeper as like, the lankier guy. And I
Yeah.
wasn't a big fan of that. So, I picked up basketball and I found my love for it and just continued on.
Yeah. How I would say it's continued on, still
Yeah.
going. How tall were you at like age 11
Ooh.
through 13? How tall are you now? People probably, you don't look that tall because in the video I actually look slightly taller, which is
Just,
not close to the real world at all. He's got the computer all the way sunk down. I have like four books under my laptop, so it's all the way up here.
I'm 6'9", so I'm pretty tall,
Insane.
I'm pretty tall. But when I was 11 years old, I'd say I was on the shorter end of the stick. I was probably
Okay.
like, I think 5'5", 5'6", which is
Okay,
still
so
pretty tall, but like,
my full grown height.
yeah.
My current full grown height is almost 5'5". So yeah, short times at 11 or 12.
But
But
that was
for
me,
you, I
11,
guess.
yeah. But that was me like from 11 till almost
Yeah.
14. And then when I turned 14, I
Okay.
just hit like a massive growth spurt.
Massive, yeah.
So
You got a
yeah,
tall family, so you probably saw it coming. That's why they had you in goalie. They knew it was coming down the line.
yeah, I just woke up one day and I couldn't fit in my bed anymore. And I was like, all right, I think I grew. And that was pretty much it.
Then you were like, okay, I'm glad I picked this basketball thing.
Exactly, exactly.
And so then you did something I feel like is really interesting. And I don't, we don't see a lot of it here in the US, but you moved abroad for high school, which is a really big move for someone who, I mean, 15 maybe at the time when you moved. What was that like? And what made you decide to take such a risk?
So when I was 14, like, I was getting better at a rapid rate, like, pretty fast. But the opportunities for me here in Australia, basketball wise, were pretty slim. And then I got an opportunity to go to a prep school in Florida through a friend of mine who actually plays in the NBL right now for the Brisbane Bullets. His name is Dang Adele. So he used to play for my club when I was younger, and I used to just watch him when I was growing up. He played with my brother and everything. So he and my coach Manny Berry, sorry, they kind of put together an opportunity for me to go to Florida and play high school basketball. And it was just like a once in a lifetime opportunity that you can't really turn down. I knew if I go over there, I'll have a chance to, play collegiate basketball one day. And that's a promise that I made to my parents. I'm like, if you allow me to go, I know I'm 15. Like, I'll hold my own, I'll get better, and I'll go to a Division 1 school on a scholarship. And, to my credit, I, held my end of the bargain and I got it done.
Say you did
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I did it.
Yeah, I know a Cal Berkeley graduate
Yes.
and did some other school along the way too. You've checked a lot of boxes at a young age too. You still got all kinds of time ahead of you. But about the move, so you played in Florida and then you moved to Napa, real
Yep.
close to me. We weren't friends yet. We would have been if we probably had known each other, but
Yeah.
was
So
that what school was that? Remind me that school because you I'm from Northern California. I was unaware we had these crazy athletic prep schools. We heard about you and the teams would complain how you guys were like way too good and had way too many players that were your size. And all the guys at my school were like feeling tall at 6 foot, and they're like, they have a guy that's 6'9". This is crazy. Explain to
oh
me
wow.
how you end up over there. It's a compliment, really. They're just jealous.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. It's part of it. But so I did 3 years at the high school in Florida, and just wanted a bigger challenge. And Prolific Prep, where I joined in Napa, was known for producing players like that go to on forward to the NBA. It's like they have a long list of like players that have made it to the next level, like collegiately or professionally. So I wanted to be a part of that. So, I got an opportunity to go there, and me and two of my friends actually transferred over there. So it made it easier for me to go over there because I had two friends that were already making the move. So, they mentioned my name to the coach, and I had just played against them and beat them recently to go to
Oh,
win a national title.
nice.
So they kind of knew who I was and who we were. So they took us in and they gave us an opportunity to be seen on the national level. And I was able to get college scholarships through that and play with some of my friends that I still talk to till this day. Yeah.
Yeah, a guy of the people. I will, for those who don't know Kuany well, when he would be back at Berkeley, he would often drive back to Napa to see his host family, who he's very close to. And so I got to come visit him once in Napa when I was living up north as well. And so it's very cool to see the impact that basketball can have on just outside of the sport. You meeting people like that. You probably never imagined you'd be living in California of all places, so far from Melbourne where you grew up. So then how did you, I want back to how we met at Cal. You were playing in Napa, your local star university, Berkeley, right just across the bay, just was calling to you and picked up the phone and is that's all it took?
I like that. I mean, like, there's definitely more to it.
Yeah.
So Cal was actually my last like official visit that I took that year. But I took my time in the recruiting process. Like relationships meant a lot to me, and it was more of like it was a more than a game decision, if that makes sense. It's more than basketball. Like I was
Yeah.
like, if I go to Cal, I'm setting myself up for the future. I'm gonna meet some of like the best people in the world. I'm gonna have like an alumni network that like, is second to none. So that was pretty much my decision in going to Cal. And that was where I felt like that family atmosphere, felt like I belonged there. And that's why it took me so long in the recruiting process to decide a school, but I found the perfect one at the end.
Yeah, and then that's how we met. We actually met through a mutual friend. I went to school in San Francisco. Josh,
Yep.
also from Australia. When I moved schools, I was like a little, I was nervous to make new friends, as one is. And I had met Josh through playing soccer there. He was playing basketball in City, and he's like, I have a friend named Kuany who goes to school in Berkeley. He also plays basketball. I was like, what a shocker. All these tall people you're friends with, what of course he plays basketball. And he's like, I think you guys will be friends. So from that moment on, I was like, this guy, Kuany, me and him are already friends. He doesn't know me yet, but when I meet him, I'm already assuming that we're friends. And I remember seeing you on campus before we met, and I was like, that's gotta be him. Because he showed me your picture. He's like, this
Yeah.
is Kuany. I was like, okay. And I was like, oh, I'm like, I can't wait to meet my new friend. Little did Kuany know, who is this random person? I don't even remember exactly the first time, but I remember one of the first times I met. I remember like basically telling you, I was like, yeah, I'm so glad that we can like that we're friends. And I was like, he's probably thinking this girl is crazy. But I knew it. I was like, no, I'm
Um,
manifesting it. It's gonna be. And I will say, I don't know, what is it? 4 or 5 years later? We are
I think
still
it's four or
friends, so
five
I
years
guess
later. Yeah, yeah, 4 or 5 years later.
I'd say it passed the test of time. Haven't seen you in person. I mean, it's been a minute. I think since maybe Napa we met up was
That
post
was right
Cal,
after
but
graduation. Yeah.
yeah. But we've both been jumping around. I haven't made it out to Australia yet, but it's on my bucket list. It's I'm hoping to go play out there myself in the beautiful lands of Australia that I get to see from online, never seen in person, but I'm looking forward to the in-person review. I have to say, I had to ask you about your experience at Cal. I feel like when we first met and you were like saying you were kind of shy, I felt like by the end though, you had really opened up. You were Mr. Social. I see you out everywhere on campus. Everybody was like, "Hey, Kuany." Everywhere we went, we couldn't go any. We would go get. I remember we went and got breakfast one day at the cafe on Durant, which is like the classic athlete
Yeah.
spot.
Cafe
I didn't
Durant.
know this until I went with you. I guess I had just been missing out on the upstairs balcony. We couldn't get like two steps to the restaurant. Everyone was like, Kuany, the game. Da, da, da. I was like, I feel like a celebrity right now. Nobody was asking about my games, but I was like, okay. I'm like, I'm feeling popular. They were like, don't worry about this meal. Like, we got you guys. I was like, oh, wow. I was like,
Oh wow.
I'm trying to play basketball in my next life, but can you give me a little, fill me in on what it was like to kind of be embraced by the community and so many people coming out to support you and knowing your name kind of on and off the court and what that was like for you? Kind of little, your first taste of stardom, I guess.
Nah, it was an up and down process. When I first got to Cal, I was very shy. It takes me a while to like, open up and like, like be comfortable in my environment and all. So I felt like my first year I was kind of just scoping out the environment. Like know, I didn't really let my guard down,
I'd
and
say
then
that's a very
yeah,
good way to put it.
and then COVID happened, and also like no interactions with like other people really. So I was always like in my own little bubble. But when I began to like embrace Berkeley and like, hey, like I've only got 4 years here, I need to like go experience like different things. I need to go try different clubs or something like at the schools. So just started joining like little random groups just to get the full campus experience. Made more friends outside of basketball, and I think that really helped me a lot. And just seeing like the support that the community showed, even like times when our team was struggling, like people still showed up, people still like, believed in us and what we were trying to do. So that always meant a lot to me. And I tried to always play as hard as I can and show that I'm more than like a basketball player. Like, as a human, like also a good person and I believe I have good character and I try to be nice to everybody and I felt like people were nice to me because I was nice to them as well.
I can attest to that. I'll give you first compliment of the day. Few and far between from me. No, but I will say I always admired how you were very kind to all the people you met from all walks of life. I think especially with the NIL era and how things have kind of changed, especially in a sport like basketball where people are making millions of dollars. It's easy to kind of get caught up in the show business of like you're a celebrity and you don't need to have time for anybody, but I felt like you always were very attentive to everyone who was in your life and you really did get you did a lot of things. A lot of people that play sports never really branch out outside of sports, but I remember being like, you do that club, I'd see you at all kinds of places. I was like, I didn't know
Yeah,
that you did it. But
campus
it's I
clubs.
think
Yeah.
it's yeah, I think you what was your what's a club that I feel like I wouldn't expect from you?
Nah, I mean like the one that was the most popular was the Athletes in Action. That
Yeah.
one my teammate Kareem kind of introduced me to that my freshman year, and it's like a Christian athletes group, and I was like very up and down with my faith back then, and I still kind of am, but like that helped me find like an environment of people who were like-minded or who had the same
Yeah.
goals as me, and it gave me like a sense of community on campus. So, it it made me like it gave me a comfortable space to be in and be myself.
Yeah, I feel like you did definitely made the most of your experience. You did a lot of things, and I think that's my one recommendation for athletes is to do everything because just you're spend so much time dedicated to your sport, and it's so easy to just be a soccer player or a basketball player, volleyball player, whatever it is that you do. But it's so helpful to have these personality and hobbies outside of it. So you don't, when you go through those low moments, because we've sat down over lunch over some
Yeah.
mutual low moments where we were both like, okay, should we quit on Wednesday or Friday? Because I'm thinking Friday so we can go into the weekend. So maybe not so much you as much as me. But it's hard. So it's like good to have those other things to keep you just level headed. So, and not not less wholesome, just different side. I got a great video in my memories, or it might have been, yeah, you said it to me actually, of us, I don't know, 2 3 years ago, enjoying a nice little frat pool party, which was not an often occurrence, but we tried to get out every once
Try
in a
to enjoy it,
while.
yeah.
Tried, gotta live a little. And so I was like, oh, we look like we're having a blast. I was like, can't remember the last time I went to a pool party. I hope
Yeah.
you're going to more pool parties in Australia. You should be.
Nah,
You're too busy because you're already playing again, but you're in the
nah.
city of literal pool parties. That's like, I feel like that's where pool parties were invented, is not, they're beach parties, but still,
Beach
same
parties, you know.
thing.
Nah, no more parties. Just
No,
that last year was like an experimental year, trying to see everything. And I remember sitting on that couch, feet in the pools, and there was a couch by the pool. Like why? But just sitting on the couch, and there's an
classic.
inflatable pool just sitting there. Yeah, that was a good time.
So it's some good times. That's what you got to experience it all. So I'm glad that you were able to get a little bit of the Berkeley social life. It's a unique one, but I think for people who think Berkeley's not fun, I have to disagree. We had a
It's
lot of
fun.
fun. Um, Sports, it has its own fun moments, but outside of the court and the field, we did some formals, we did some pool parties, some game days. You made it some football game days. I
Yeah,
did as well.
I made it to like
Shocking.
two that last year.
Yeah.
I wish I could have made it to
The
more, but like
so
made
fun.
it to two. Like
We'll
it
do an
would always
alumni
sign up for
one.
practice if I make it back out there.
What, you'll make it back. The people in America, I'm like,
Yeah.
the people in America, super generalized statement. The people in California miss you. They'd like to see you again. So
Nah, definitely
one
come
of
back
these
soon.
off seasons, yeah. On your
Yeah.
on your 12 days off, we'll try to get you down out and over
Nah,
here.
my team was busy winning a championship, so off season was a little shorter this year. Probably
Yeah,
like, but
seriously.
I see a lot of teams finished up early February, so they've had like 2 months off. But we finished like towards the end of, I believe,
Yeah,
towards
you
the end
were
of March. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say you
So
were going for pretty.
oof,
I remember seeing that in March when I was like in my off season. I was chilling. I was like, Quaddy still playing basketball right now.
yeah, it was a mental battle. Like we
Yeah,
fought as a team, and I think the
yeah,
team we
it's a
wanted it
long
more than
season.
anyone else, but we fought for it.
Yeah, well, and I have to ask then because you're a couple weeks off. You're just coming off of your very small postseason break. Were you able to go down and see your family in Melbourne? I know you'll have to explain to people who don't understand exactly what it's like being a international student and especially an international student athlete. Your time is very crunched. You have a lot, even the off seasons, you're playing a lot. And so you didn't make it home a lot, not as much as your average student,
Yeah,
not even close.
it was a battle. Like so in college, being an international student, like you're away from home, so you're gonna miss home sometimes. Like I feel like in college it was easier for me because I had already been doing it since high school.
Yeah.
But I went times where I didn't go home for 2 years. I went another time where I didn't go home for 3 years. And hearing people complain about not going home for 2 weeks or not seeing their family in a month, it always used to hit like a spot. But like, to have some sympathy for them, like, cause it's probably their first time away from home, whereas I was kind of used to it. And I would love to be like to have gone home, but it's just the circumstances, like how basketball was almost year round, and then events like COVID and like Australia closing the borders, like not able to fly home for like another year or something. So stuff like that, things like, that were out of my control. So I never really got frustrated about it, just knowing it's out of my control.
Yeah. Oh, I know they missed you.
Mhm.
Were they, how excited were they to hear that you were moving back? That must have been very exciting. I know your mom especially had to be pretty ecstatic about that one.
Yeah, they were filled with joy, like, like first knowing like that, I've achieved my goals of, graduating. Like I got my bachelor's, I got my master's degree, and then now my other goal
Ooh,
of becoming,
how did we make we got to touch back on the Masters in a second here. Can't let that
yeah.
go unnoticed, but finish up on the family. That's important.
Yeah, but like just knowing that like I had finally achieved my goal of becoming a professional athlete, like that, had them like very excited. And then to see that I
Yeah.
was gonna be so close to home, like it's only a 1 hour and a half flight, it's like an 8 hour drive from home. So like
Yeah.
knowing that they were gonna have chances to see me play
Yeah.
maybe, stuff like that made them very happy.
Because they never saw you. Did they see you play once at Berkeley?
My little brother saw me play
Your little
during
brother,
college.
yes.
Yeah, he came. He watched 3 games. Spent the Christmas break with me. Um, so he got to see me, play. Other than that, like they would just watch on TV. And then my family came for my graduation, so that was really good.
I remember them coming for graduation. I remember how excited you were. That
Yeah,
was a very special moment. I
yeah,
lived close, so my family was here all the time. My family has met you multiple times,
yeah,
but I remember how excited you were that they were coming down. And I remember it was exciting for them too, because I think was that their first time being in
yeah.
California?
It was my mom, dad, and my sister's first time in America.
In
So
America.
in America in
Wow.
general.
Yeah.
So yeah,
What do they
they came,
think?
they loved it. They loved it so
Oh,
much.
they did. Oh, good.
So they loved it so much. My sister had to get back to work, so she left after like, 10 days or something. But my dad loved it so much. He stayed for 2 months. Like, and then my mom stayed for like a month, but my dad loved it. Like he stayed 2 months and
You didn't want to go home.
he visited all our relatives. Like, so we got relatives all over
Oh, that's
America.
awesome.
So
Yeah.
they started in California, then they went to Omaha, like Nebraska.
Oh,
And then
wow. Yeah.
yeah, then my mom went to Atlanta to like family there. And then she went back
Nice.
home. But my dad went Atlanta, went to New York, DC. Like
Oh, okay.
he did the
Yeah.
whole
He
tour.
he gave
And then
himself a little US tour there. He said, "Let me see a little bit of everything while I'm all the way out here."
Mhm. Yep, he did the whole tour. Like he went everywhere, the whole East Coast. Yeah.
I mean, for not having, been from the States, I think in some ways sports, is amazing just to be able to see this country, but also to see so much of it. I mean, you've probably played in at least, what, 12 plus states? I mean, you guys did a lot of travel for basketball and you've played at two schools now. So
Say I've been to like majority of the states in America, at least 30 something states. So,
that's
and it's
great.
all
That's
through
more than
basketball.
me. That's more than me. I've only been
Wow.
to probably like 15. So
No,
that's
I got
that's
lucky.
upsetting for me as an American citizen, but that's okay.
No, basketball, it's done wonders for me. It's taken me all over. So I'm
Yeah,
very
well, I
grateful for
want to
that.
ask you, yeah, I want to shout you out with for the masters. Woo woo. Okay.
Thank you.
Educated, double educated. If you don't decide to play basketball anymore, even though you're kind of set with that right now and you got the perfect build and everything. So it's not looking like you picked the wrong career. You got really good backups with the Berkeley degree and the masters from VCU. You had to fill me in a little on that move because I didn't even really get to talk to you, but like once when you moved over there, I remember I was talking to you when you were trying to decide a new school, and that was a crazy process. The transfer portal has become its own beast in the last
It was a nightmare.
4 years. It is, yeah, it's insane. Um, yeah, so what made VCU and I know you had a lot of good opportunities kind of across the states. So what made you feel like VCU was going to be the one?
It was like, so it was pretty hard to decide because like a lot was going on. Like, I had graduation coming up. I was dealing with an
Yeah.
injury, so I wasn't gonna play for about 7 months. So, and then I was in the portal. So I'm in the portal with an injury, and I'm trying to
So
graduate and
tough.
take visits, and I'm not allowed to fly for like a month, and schools are getting impatient, stuff like that. So it was a lot to deal with, but it came down to VCU and St. Louis, but VCU like just the coaching staff, the area, like the people around, like they had such a great culture. Like it was a new coaching staff, but like historically VCU has been great for like 20 plus years, and they've won 20 games or more like almost every year for like their whole like lifetime. So there's like an excellence, like excellence is like demanded there. So I wanted to be somewhat challenging. The coaches there had like a plan for me, you know, to come back from my injury, to still get an opportunity to play. You know, they're gonna help with my offensive game and put me in better positions to be successful. And to their credit, like they taught me so much and they kept their word. Um, a lot of people that I knew were very close to like the VCU staff, and they all told me great things. And to their credit, I still talk to them till this day. Like me and one of the coaches texted yesterday, one of them texted me today. So like
Oh, look at that.
it's crazy.
You're
Like
still
we
connected.
yeah we
Yeah.
still talk. Like you know I might get a random call every now and then.
That's
I give him a
awesome.
random call. So yeah, stuff like that.
That's cool. Yeah, I was excited for you to be able to utilize what COVID year, which in the moment was
Mm-hmm.
such honestly kind of horrible. I feel like COVID was not a
Oh.
great time, especially not for you. You were like stuck in America. All of us went home. You were stuck in Berkeley. No one was in Berkeley. For those who aren't super familiar with California geography, Berkeley is somewhat of a college town. So when everyone leaves from school, there's not much
Nothing.
there. Except Kuany. Kuany was there all
Just
of COVID, while the
just
rest of
hanging out.
us were with our families. He could not get into Australia. They were like, absolutely not. Keep your COVID and stay in America with it.
Yeah,
So you were stuck. But then at least I'm just glad that like so many people you're able to kind of take the positive from that and go play another year, get a master's degree, and see a whole new city, whole new basketball experience, and a great year. I was very excited to get to watch some of your games and get to see lots of highlights of you posterizing people and just causing havoc on the East Coast. I was like, yes, go Kuany go. I was watching this. I was like, oh, they are ready for this. I was like, this is awesome. I was getting like a block or a dunk highlight like pretty much once a week on my feed from VC. I still follow VCU basketball. So now I
hey,
see the post. I'm like, not the same. Not the same without
not the
Kuany though. I'm
same.
like, I'm not as
Nah,
quite as invested as a fan anymore now that he's not there, but I'm still giving them a little cheer on here and there.
nah. It was exciting times. Very good, like you know, basketball experience there. Like we missed out on March Madness by one game. Like we lost the
I
championship
was
game.
I
You
was
know,
heartbroken for you.
yeah, we got upset by Duquesne.
Who had
Five
a little
games in
run
5 days
themselves,
is a
yeah.
lot. So yeah,
It's
so I
it
think it caught up
is.
to us. And then yeah, they just you know outplayed us that day. And credit to them, they went in and they made
Yeah,
noise for the conference. You know, a smaller
they
conference.
did,
They went
yeah.
in and beat BYU in the first round.
I
So
remember that. That was
it was
cool.
it was it was not hard to cheer for them after seeing what they had gone through, coming from like almost last place to like finishing middle of the pack. Their coach telling them they're gonna retire, he's gonna retire and all that, and
Yeah.
then they go out and finish their coach's like coaching career with a bang. It's like really
Yeah.
happy for them, but I still would love to have been the one that goes to March Madness.
Right, yeah. That's
Yeah.
very kind of you. Little humility there. Well, I have to ask you, like, I mean, you've done so much, in terms of basketball, played so many places. Do you have any like moment in your like college career that stands out to you of like, wow, this is special, or just like a moment where you're just taking it all in, whether that's like the fan experience being in the stadium or just something with your teams, a game you won, maybe a game that you got it done yourself. I don't know. Maybe you have a couple. You can give me one or two. I won't limit you.
I got a fun one. It's like my senior year, like, you know, we were struggling and for a couple of games we brought it together and it was the Stanford game. Like we played Stanford, at home
Classic.
and, you know, we had been struggling all year and our team, we come out and we hit 16 threes out of 22. So like
I
that's a
remember that game.
ridiculous
That was
percentage.
awesome.
And I had a pretty good game. But overall, like the whole team, it was like one of the first times we played as a team all year, and just seeing like our whole team come together to beat our rival, like that was great. And that moment like replays in my mind every now and then. And then there was an
Oh,
embarrassing moment
that's
from that
cute.
game where
Oh,
my shoelace just like messed up and they wouldn't like untangle. And then I had jarred my like thumb like earlier with the ball, so I couldn't like untie my shoelace. So the referee had to go do it for me, and then
that's
delayed the
hilarious.
game because they had to go get me a new shoe because no one could do it. I was
No, they took your whole shoe off?
like it delayed the game. Like went and grabbed like another shoe, took the
That's
shoelace, and then we changed the
hilarious.
shoelaces. Yeah,
That's so
that
funny.
was it was
It's
funny. Yeah.
it's funny that you remember that too because I'm pretty sure I watched that game or at least the highlights. I guess that
Mhm.
didn't make the highlight reel. But I don't remember that at all. But I bet you still like think about that. You're just randomly like walking and you're like, "Dang, remember that time where I delayed the game to get my shoelace replaced?"
Yeah, I was
That's
at the
such an
free throw
athlete
line.
thing.
Like like a lot of people took photos, videos, and I was like, it's kind of embarrassing, but it was funny. And then we were winning by a
Yeah.
lot, so it didn't really matter. But like
Yeah.
just seeing like
That's funny.
everyone struggle to
To get
untangle
it
that shoe,
tangled.
and then yeah, I
That's
couldn't do it
funny.
myself. My thumb was a mess, and I was like, ah.
Oh, that's a classic. It probably just really that really was probably grating on the Stanford guys too. They're like, not only are they now beating us, now this Kuany kid's just gonna make them get him a new shoelace and wait as he laces it
Delay
up.
the
Not just a
game.
new shoe, middle lacing up the shoelace on your foot. Yeah,
Yeah, I
no,
shot
that's
the free. I
awesome.
just like put the shoe, like put the lace to the side while the shoe was still untied, and then shot my free throws, subbed down, and then went and changed the laces. They just cut it with a
That's
scissor.
awesome.
Yeah, so that's
That's
funny moment.
hilarious. That's funny that you remember that,
Mm.
despite that. I have a personal memory. I don't know who you guys were playing. That
Mm.
wasn't important to me. But I was watching, and I was mostly watching you and maybe two other people that I knew. Shout out Lars. And
Mm.
yeah, I think that's about the only people that I really saw kind of regularly was you two. So I was cheering for you guys, and you just had a crazy dunk on someone, and I just remember, and then you had like a followed it up with a three, and I feel like as a tall guy, I know this about you that you love to pull up from outside and have a good little 3 point go, but it's a little unexpected because you are one of the taller guys. So I feel
Yeah.
like anytime a big guy makes a three, it's like two times more cool than anyone else making a three. So I remember that and I was like, that's my friend. I was fully videoing and sending it to you. I was like, go, Kuany, go.
Okay.
So I
I
have
remember what
lots of good
you
memories of
mean.
watching you play in Hoss Pavilion. It was a fun time. Lots of on and off the court. We had a lot of
Memories. Yeah.
fun with the whole sports thing. I remember your scooter. I remember that that will embarrass you, but I remember you having the broken scooter, the stand-up scooters for those who aren't
Oh my
familiar.
God.
You
Yeah.
see every athlete on campus with the stand-up scooter. Kwani was one of those guys with the stand-up scooter. To be fair, he had to get to practice, but his scooter was broken for a very long time. I don't know why we couldn't find the part for it or something. So this man would go around campus on a scooter that barely rolled. And I mean barely. That thing was going like 2 miles per hour. Not to what was probably making it harder is the fact that, these scooters, you're pretty tall, you're a big guy, especially with your height. These scooters are meant for people like me, 5'5", averagely sized, easy to get around on a scooter. That thing had like half a battery, half a wheel, and it was still cooking up the hills in Berkeley with you on it,
It
but
was
just
going like
going
so
so
slow,
slow.
but it was making it. It
It
wasn't
was somehow
necessarily.
still.
So I'll tell you one thing. It wasn't necessarily for the uphill like part. No, it helped get uphill. I'll kick it a
Yeah.
little bit. It was more so the downhill part later on. So later on, I'll just go
Mm-hmm.
down like broken brake, broken front tire. Like I couldn't replace the front tire because it wouldn't let me. Like
I
half snapped.
remember
I was just
that.
like, I'm gonna thug it out as long as I can. And
I
then
remember it was at the end. Yeah.
yeah,
There was
it was
no,
like
it was too late to replace it, but I remember watching you come to meet me and I'd be like a little far away and I'd see you just so slow over the bumps, just
oh,
taking forever. And I was like, this is too funny. You
I was
missed out on
like,
the NIL era. That's why. If you was the NIL era, you would have had a pimped out scooter. It would have been going
scooter. I
like
would have bought a car.
50.
I would have had
Why wouldn't
I
be
would have had a
driving a
car.
scooter? True, but the international, would you still have had? Because we were like end of NIL, but you
You can
you
do it
had
as
a
international.
you can now, but
Yeah,
before wasn't it different? It was harder, right? Or
there
you
was
can't
more
do it when
rules
you're
to
in
it.
the States. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do it in the States, and there was more rules to it. But
Yeah.
now like the rules are pretty
Ugh,
straightforward and like people
you
know like,
missed out on
how to do it. Yeah.
missed out on some nice stuff. It's okay.
It's all good,
You're
I
now
had
you'll
a
get
good
your own money.
experience.
You can buy it yourself. You had it,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
It kept you humble. Imagine if you were driving around a fresh car and you were
Oof,
just
I
and
still
you
would have
just
been
had all
humble.
this stuff. Okay, you
It's
say
bur-
that. No, I'm just kidding. I believe you.
I would have had a cheap
I
car.
just said that you were a good guy to everybody. I believe it. I'm not going to change the record and say you wouldn't. I'm just giving you a hard time. I know some people though for sure would have changed. Some people that we know,
I got
I
no
know they
names.
would
I
have
got
been
no
different.
names. I plead,
I'm
I
not
plead
saying
the
anyone's
fifth.
names. I'm just you know who I'm thinking of. No, I'm just kidding. Um,
Oh
well, I don't want to keep you forever because you know we can yap. I can yap really. I've started to get you into your get you really talk. I can get you talking now. Back in the day, it was mostly me
two
talking at
words.
you, but
You get
yeah,
two
two
words.
words. Kwani's like, that's cool. I'm like, yeah. Back to my story. But this is about you. But I have to highlight something recently that happened to you that's very exciting. You're looking worried for a second. No, very
It's like, oh,
exciting. He's like, I say, well, maybe since I didn't press you, this is a sports lifestyle podcast. So before I give you another shout out, I'll get you with a tough question. I have to ask you, like, as you kind of you moved schools too. I think before I give you your compliments, so you moved from Berkeley to VCU, which I know, like, for them, you had told me like basketball huge there. Did you feel a little bit of that stardom of like where you when you moved there? Were you get any groupies yet, or are we still waiting on another NBL championship till we have groupies? Were you like getting people walking up to you like, "Hey, I'm trying to meet this new guy on the team," or were you still like adjusting? I feel like that didn't happen. It happened at Berkeley. I know it happened, but I feel like it's a little less because Berkeley is slightly more. I don't know if hippie is the right word, but it's the word
hmm,
that feels right. Sports didn't
nah.
get its full moment as much sometimes. I know you did, but
Nah, the people love basketball at VCU. Like, they sell out like almost every game.
yeah.
Um, like the fans, could say they're very, very passionate. So they'll come up to you in public and it's more like regular conversations where, just welcoming you to a place, thanking you for being there. And, just like typical fans, like there's going to be some people that obviously will approach you, but I'd say everyone's pretty respectful and like, no one is out of line. So
Okay.
no groupies for me.
No
Just,
groupies
you
yet.
know,
We'll wait on
just,
that.
I don't think we want groupies. Like,
Yeah, no, I'm just giving you a hard
yeah,
time. Yeah,
we don't want
that's how you know
groupies.
you made it. No, no, no. Hopefully you'll be saved from that. I don't wish that upon you. No, well, I know you had lots of fun and are as you've gone through college, you've become more and more social and outgoing. So I'm glad that you got to, experience that at the end of Cal and then go off to a new school and kind of meet a whole new set of people and get a whole new set of fans. I feel like you've always been kind of a fan favorite. And I think that speaks to, like you said, not just a good basketball player, but you're a good guy. People love to get to know you and talk to you. I mean, I'm still friends with you. If you were a bad person, we might not still be friends all these years later. You never know. I could be in it for, maybe I'm in it for this interview, but no,
That's it. Who knows?
I'm in it for the visit to Australia. No, no, no. But I have to highlight something that's super exciting for you. This made me very excited when I saw it. And it's something that I would love to, include in this that you were your first debut for the South Sudan national team. And congratulations. That's so
Thank you.
exciting. I know
Thank
how
you.
much that part of your heritage means to you. We've talked about this. I know when I first met you, you were a little shy to give me your whole life story, but I think it's an amazing story. So I'd love to share it if you would allow me to.
Yes.
Okay, good. I shouldn't have saved it for the end, but I felt like I wanted to end on it because this is actually why I made you sit down and interview with me at Cal because I was like, this story could easily be an ESPN 60 for 60. Kuany would never want to do it at the time, but I was like, you have a great story and I'd love to be able to share it for people and, for young players who I'm sure have maybe not had the exact same move, but there's some, I'm sure, but had similar experiences. You were born in South Sudan, even though you have spent most of your life in Australia. So not everybody knows that about you. But I remember on a funny story, I remember when I met you, um, that I was like, "Oh, so you're Australian?" And you were like, "Do you really think I was born in Australia? Do you think I'm fully my whole?" I was like, "So how long has like your family like been Australian?" And you were like, "Keely, I was not born in Australia. My family is not Australian per se." I was like, "Oh, this makes a little sense." But it's also your home. Australia and South Sudan, I feel like, have equally been an important part of your heritage, and a little bit of maybe California now, deep
California,
down.
yeah, definitely.
But your family, you were born in South Sudan. That's where your family is from, and then you guys immigrated over to Australia during what was a really crazy and scary time. Can you maybe explain to me a little bit? You probably don't remember this, 'cause I know you said you were pretty young. Maybe what your family explained to you about how you kind of left your home to then move to Australia, which is a big move.
I could just put it this way, like there was a huge opportunity for a better life, and they took it with open arms. Like, they didn't want to delay it. They wanted a better opportunity for me and my siblings. So when it came, they just took it and, left their lives behind and everything that they, knew, owned. They left it all behind to as a sacrifice for us. So yeah, that's how I like to put it. Like, they just sacrificed everything they had to make sure that we could have more.
That's a sentimental thought, to think that your family knew in that moment, like, to leave everything that was familiar to them, to like know that this would be something that could change your life, and obviously did. So many opportunities really probably came for you making that move. And I know we kind of talked about, your family being able to move was such an opportunity, because for those who don't know, that was kind of around the time that South Sudan was having what was considered somewhat of a civil war, or
Yeah.
just a war in general that was pretty dangerous, and just, not a walk in the park, anytime you're in a country that's in a state of warfare. So for them to be able to come to Australia, I remember you telling me you were a little, scared starting over in Australia, a whole
Yeah.
new country, lifestyle, very different, I'm sure, than what you remember kind of growing up. Just, as it is anytime you move from one country to another. I got my little international experience in, and I was terrified. Can you just speak to like how that transition was, and how you try to stay in touch with, your roots back in South Sudan?
Yeah, so it was a difficult change. Like, I didn't know the language and everything. And,
Yeah.
I'm going to school and, they just speaking English. So, but it's crazy. Like, there was a couple other kids, like, who were in my position. So I became friends with them pretty fast. And, yeah, you got to know the area like that. And, made some friends, would go to the park and all. Sorry, I forgot the second part of your question.
Oh, just like, I know you talked about it, hard to move, but then as you kind of settled in, like, how did you try to keep in touch with like a part of your, your family and your culture that was now like thousands and thousands of miles away, and you don't remember that much of it because you're obviously very young?
I'd say through my parents. My parents like made it pretty easy. Like, we spoke our native language in the house, and we still speak English at times, but like we spoke our native language in the house. So it helped us all, like, never really forget that um we're still like writing our language and all. So yeah, stuff like that just made it easy to still stay in touch with our heritage, with our community back
That's
home.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very unique, because I think when people move, it's really easy to just assimilate in right away with
Mhm.
everything, because it just makes life easier to, speak the language to each other so you can like get better and stuff. I think it's awesome that they made that important to continue to. I've heard you talk to your mom on the phone, and I
Yeah.
think that's why I have no idea what you're saying. What language is that I am not aware of?
So it's Dinka. It's South Sudanese dialect. So yeah,
Oh,
so that's the native language back there. Majority of the people speak Dinka, Arabic, and now English. So
okay, yeah. So when you're home in Australia, would you say you kind of 50-50 between speaking Dinka and speaking English, or kind of just go a little bit of both?
It kind of mix it up. Like, like I might have a sentence that's like half Dinka, half English. And then like I might just, but most times like we'll speak Dinka, like,
Okay,
especially
yeah.
like to my parents and all. And then sometimes we might speak English. Like it's just whatever at this point. But just that
That's
they know all
cool.
their kids understand both languages. So it's like, it's all good.
That's impressive
Yeah.
because you got a lot of siblings.
Yeah.
How many there's you have I know you have two brothers and a sister, right?
I have five siblings. So two sisters and
Two
three
sisters.
brothers. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
a
I
lot
have,
of kids to be make sure they are
they
on
all
it for
do.
both of them.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
helps
for
like,
those,
everyone's together. So
yeah.
you always hear it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool. I know how close you are with your family, and it was very cool for me to see how much of an effort you made to, stay in touch with them with crazy time change and just speaking to them in in Dinka and just making that effort when you're like with me and all these people who only speak English. So you're like English, 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 and then you're like talk to them to be able to like
Switch.
code switch like that is hard. People don't realize that. For those who might just be like, oh, Kuany's just really good at basketball. You're also very intelligent, and I know that because I could never do that. When I moved abroad, I tried to learn a little German, didn't learn any, and even when I did, I'd start talking in German and then forget what I was even trying to get at in English. Then I had to say it in English, then think about it again and say it in German. It was just, I was
It's
like, wow, I have
all
so much respect for people who are multilingual. I'm just an English speaker, and that's I think that's just what it's gonna be. I was like, I don't think I have the brain power to do it. But I back to the important part. Congratulations on your debut with South Sudan. That's a very exciting way to reconnect with your homeland and people who have, this similar ancestry to you, and in a what an amazing way to, play international basketball. I think playing at the international level is so many people's dream, to be able to represent your country and just to play against some of the best in the world. And you've been traveling all over. You're just
exactly.
adding countries to your list. Fill me in on how that came to be. And
Yeah, so it started Lil Dang, like we kind of go way back now. Like, I used to go to these basketball camps when he would come to Australia. So he would
yeah,
come to the Sydney's basketball tournament in Australia, and he'd organize camps and kind of look after the kids. And he's always like left an open line of communication where anyone can really reach out to him and he'll, respond and give advice, all of that.
yeah,
But the opportunity rose while I was with Illawarra. They thought that I was good enough to, be on the team, so they gave me an opportunity. And, I feel like I proved to them in those three games in Morocco, not Morocco, in Senegal, that I was, worthy of a spot. So they gave me another opportunity, and they just kept watching my progress, and I was able to go play in Morocco for the World Cup qualifiers. So
okay.
now we're qualified for AfroBasket, and that's in August
That's
in Angola.
awesome.
So my goal is to, keep getting better and get an opportunity to play in Angola when this
Yeah,
season ends.
we'll be
And
cheering you
then
on
yeah,
for that.
and then
That's
we'll see
exciting.
how it goes from there.
You're Yeah, and like a world traveler now. You just named like five places that I could not even identify on a map. I saw you in Dubai. I was like, what's this man doing? He's just everywhere. I see your location like my little Sims. I see you just bouncing around the globe. I'm like, this man is really just seeing it all, doing it all. That's so exciting. How was that feeling wearing that jersey for the first time and having the South Sudan on your
Mm.
chest? I'm sure a special moment.
Awesome feeling. Like, just not many people get to do it. And to do it for South Sudan meant a lot more to me because of what South Sudan has been through as a country. And knowing like how much it means to my parents. Like my mom, my dad, like they love our country. Like, they left everything behind, sacrificed everything to make sure I have a better opportunity. And what better way to give back to them than seeing their son on some of the world's biggest stages, like, you know, like representing the country and the last name. So just,
Yeah.
my dad staying up till like 4 a.m. to watch the games. Like even
Oh,
one of the games
that's
I
so
barely
special.
played, and he's just watched the whole game, and he's just
Oh,
like, "I'm proud of you." stay like, stay the course. And then the next game I played a lot, so stuff like that. Yeah, so it's fun.
That's amazing. And yeah, just like you said, I mean, I can't even paraphrase it better. Just how special for you and your family. I can only imagine how proud they were. Probably close that and watching you walk at graduation. Very, very top moments for them. But I
Right.
mean, I don't want to keep you too long, but I just wanted to end on that because I know that's such a special thing. I was very excited to see that. I knew how proud you were to represent your country, and I had a feeling your parents were equally as excited for you. That's all I've got for you today. We'll have to catch up. We have to be better, keep in contact more, but wishing you the best of luck on your upcoming season that you're kicking off up in Victoria. And thank you so much for being here. It's been amazing to catch up.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me and taking the time to have a chat with me and, share my story and wishing you all
No,
the best in your soccer journey.
thank you. Thank
Hopefully
you.
it's
I'm
to
excited.
Australia.
That right? That's we're really hoping to cross paths again in Australia for our Berkeley friends. It's going to be a big reunion. We're manifesting it. I've got some friends over there, so A League if you're looking for a really fun, nice, pretty athletic box to box midfielder who's really good at
Talented.
interviews.
Talented.
I'm available. I am available. No, either way, if I don't go play, I promise I will make a trip. It'll just be a vacation. So either way, can't really go wrong, I think, with a vacation
Can't go
reunion
wrong.
in the near future. So
Can't go
thank
wrong.
you for being my first guest. It feels so full circle. I'm so happy for you. All my congratulations, sending them to you virtually on a great first pro season, your call up to the South Sudan national team, and wishing you so much luck and excited to see where this next year takes you.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so much.
Kuany.
Thanks, Keely. Have a good one.